Welcome everyone to the Mennello Museum virtual studio visits. This is Katherine Page. I'm here with Lillian Verkins today to take you through her studio and her work practice and to get to know the artist. This is a program that is sponsored by Art Bridges and their Bridge Ahead initiative. And so we would like to thank them for the funding for this project to be able to bring these artists to our community. So thank you again. Lillian, thank you for being here. It's a pleasure to be in your space and to talk to you about your art and to get to really dive deep into it. Would you go ahead and tell our viewers a little bit about your practice and how you got started?
Sure. Thank you very much, Katherine. I appreciate all of this. I am so thankful to Mennello Museum, Mennello family, the Bridge Ahead initiative, also Little Indies. And you know what? I'm thankful for Shannon, because she's done a lot for us artists. And the one that introduced me into Mennello was Paul Scarsborough. And I really miss him. I think the whole community misses him. But anyway, thank you so much for coming into my studio. It is a studio inside of my living space. And I actually feel like I am living in the studio instead of the studio being a part of my house. So, because art is everywhere in here. I started painting in 2004, and I started as Oriental brush painter over at Lou Gardens, which is one of our wonderful institutions and parks here in Orlando. I started with Sharon Bennett. She was teaching Oriental brush painting, and I did that for a few years. And some of the other local artists have done that also, and they became stronger and professional after a few years. So anyway, after a while, that small little space just couldn't hold me anymore. And I needed to expand. And I tried oils, and the oils, I just had allergies. I was constantly itching. All the smells bothered me. So I tried acrylics, and I fell in love with acrylics. And, you know, I just started with landscapes and little flowers and kind of expanded. And then I dressed up my son's house. I dressed up my cousin's house. You know, like the paintings were going out because I had no space for them here. So one day my son had a party, and somebody came to the party, and they were in love with all the paintings he had in the house. And they started bugging him to introduce us and for me to sell some of the paintings to them. And I was like, oh, well, I'm doing this as a hobby. This is like a little thing I'm doing, except they're large, you know? So yeah, it took a couple of years, and they finally talked me into selling the one piece that they fell in love with over there. And currently they have 19 of my paintings.
Wow.
Plus they have Tom Sadler's. They have a lot of different artists that they have paintings of. So I'm one of them, and I'm so honored. But anyway, they were my first people that tried to talk me into going professional. And I did. And yes, so now I'm like crazy in love with this. And I just can't stop myself. And I don't do landscapes as much anymore. I do them every once in a while when I need to refresh my brain. I need to just give it a break, you know? So, but most of the time, I just do, I start coloring, and I want to add depth to the paintings. So that is what I do. I play with it. I look at it. I play with the colors to see if I could create depth, if I could create a feeling. And the feeling is what's important to me. So here you are seeing some of the current paintings that were just finished not long ago. This one here is called Gratitude, and she just came out of an exhibition, so I brought her home. And this one here, which is my, I think, the most emotional piece as far as the coronavirus goes. It shows me laying down in the bed that I used to love, in the sleep I used to love. And here I am having all these nightmares, all these worries. I'm trying to chase them away, but they just will not go. And they just keep on crawling out and grabbing me, you know? They come from everywhere. And they even have masks on, you know? Hey. But that's the corona nightmare for me.
Mm-hmm. So when we were talking about your work too, you tend to work in different series. You talked already about your landscapes, yes, and how you use those specifically for like a mind clearing and for, yes, meditation, yes, for figuring things out, almost like you do with your, right, cooking as well. Yeah. Yes.
Well, I have a space in my house. I always have about 8 paintings up that I'm working on. Currently, you're only seeing the ones that are finished on the walls because I wanted to have a nice looking studio for you. But this is not the way it usually is. So you have a nice little break over here. But yes, I have a space here, and I'll take you to that. Let me see if I can get the camera to look the other way. Yeah, there we go. So this is where I usually hang a painting that I am working on, and I think I'm kind of getting to a final product. And I normally lay down on a couch and I read and I look at it and I read and I look at it and I think to myself, okay, does it need anything else? And I tell you, with the break that I receive from doing a different activity, either cooking or reading, it just comes to me, you know, I can see what I need to do and I fix it. So yes, that is my process. Now, one of the other things that I wanted to show you is during this Corona time, it's been so crazy for all of us artists because all of our places have closed. We're unable to show our work. You know, there's all sorts of stuff has happened to us. And here, Creole Day decided to go ahead and do the open studio with models. And so I took some of my old paintings that I need to kind of resuscitate or maybe rejuvenate or reincarnate, as I like to say. And I put the model into those paintings. And I think, to me, it's so odd that here we have these models that are nude and they have a mask on. I mean, you know, that's a record of this time. That's a documented time for us. And, you know, I've had people tell me, well, take the mask off, give them a face. No, because that is a record of what we're going through. They're isolated. I call them isolation. They're isolated. They're hanging on in an environment that God knows what's going to happen in, you know? and they're looking at each other, hoping for something good to come out of all of this. So yeah, where was I?
We were just going over your series, and so you have the landscape and the recreations with adding figures. We've talked too about how your work is on the wall, going back and forth to it. You're working on 8 pieces at a time, so this is not a fast process for you, right? This is a very lengthy.
No. The only thing that is fast is when I draw figures, I do that fast because that's eye movement, coordination of eye and hand. Also, landscapes are pretty easy. I don't like to make things realistic though. My other works, the dreamscapes, the abstracts, the spacescapes, those all require time. And I kind of equate my creation of those to winemaking. You have the grapes, which are my acrylic paints, and you have the bottles, which are, my canvas, the 4 corners, and that takes the fermentation, that takes a long time to create. And some of them, as I was telling you, take years because I put them in the back because I don't know where to go next with them. So I put them in the back and then, I'll take them out, I'll find them and, I can finish that today. So that's what I do. And actually one of these is that, but I can't recall which one.
That's okay. It's the part of the process of going back and looking at it. And I think it's very important to know too that your works are from your mind, from your imagination. They're not from a reference photo necessarily. So all the color choices, all of the movement, all of the feeling, these are all from your own imagination, from your own inspiration, the flowing, and it's wonderful. Yeah.
It's a puzzle that I like to create. And when you get that last piece in, that's when you say, oh, it's finished. Yeah, it's finished. This one here actually is, I was listening to Vivaldi's Storm, and it was just so awesome. And I love red. I mean, to me, red is like, oh, I wish I could wear red. I can't. But so I wanted to create a painting that felt that storm that was going on in his. It's one of the seasons. It was awesome. So yes, this is my ode to Vivaldi. This one here, I haven't named yet, but maybe I don't know. We'll see.
It's very interesting the kind of the synesthesia that comes out of it, the music and making the music and that feeling that you're getting visual. I find fascinating.
Right. I love that.
Do you often work from songs as inspiration?
I'm sorry?
Oh, do you often work from songs as inspiration?
No, actually, no, I don't. I actually find music very distracting to me because my body wants to dance instead of paint. So no, I can't do that. But because I don't know, there was something about that piece that I had to express. And I love classical music. So when I came across that piece, I just had to put it down. And interestingly enough, I couldn't paint it while I was listening. So I would have to listen and then paint and then go back and forth between the two because somehow it had to go into my brain and then get expressed.
Yeah, the translation process for you as an artist.
Right.
And I can completely see the excess noise being an issue. I do the same thing when I'm writing. Sometimes even classical music is too vibrant for me.
Right. Because you want to get into it, you know?
Yes.
I want to get into the music. I don't want to be just like, no, I have to, when I'm painting, I kind of have to concentrate on painting. And then when I stand away, that's a different activity then. Then I can go ahead and do other things. But one of the other things that inspired me was Carl Sagan and the Hubble pictures. You know, those space pictures, I just kind of want to, you know, fly up there and be up there in all of that. So to me, you know, these paintings, well, I don't have the space ones up with the exception of the Glory, but those are my environments that I want to go into. I want to have depth in the paintings. I'm a colorist, so I like to create space in there. I don't like to have a flat painting.
Right.
You know, so that's what I do. Yeah, I just had a really good show over at Orlando Science Center with about 30 paintings right before the coronavirus hit. Actually, it was in December, you know, and we kind of heard about Corona in Europe and China, and, you know, of course, we didn't think it was going to be here. And those paintings were going to go ahead and go other places. Mm-hmm. And when everything shut down last March, us artists, just me, but all the other artists, our dreams like fell apart. You know, we had plans, we had dreams, things were going to happen, and it all fell apart. And I actually, at that time, made a painting of how I was feeling. And it's very interesting because it's almost prophetic in a way, because I wrote a poem for that painting, and it just, let me read it to you. Is it okay if I read it to you?
Yeah, absolutely, okay. Please.
So here is the painting, and it's 60 by 48. And let's see if I can get it better. Well, you can't really see the colors in the movement.
Oh, I love the reds that you're using in there with that green highlights.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, so the poem that goes along with it is, I call it my COVID-19. You present yourself as this pretty ball with stalks of broccolini growing on your surface. Yet to me, you have twisted and turned the world upside down. Your tentacles have wrought devastation upon humanity, destruction of our world economy, clawing your nails into our minds, spreading fear and instability. COVID-19, you've ravished my mind. You've messed with it in so many ways. You've wreaked havoc on all my great plans and my days. To me, you are a whirlpool sucking me into your murky waters of ruination. But I, along with the rest of humanity, will flush you down the drain, and we will be victorious.
I can see the additional happiness that comes out of that,
It does.
of seeing it fall away and then the hope coming out. Mm-hmm.
Right. It really, it was, I looked at this morning. Oh, and I'm no poet laureate. So, Amanda, you have nothing to worry about. You are the great one. No, but it was interesting because I was looking at stuff this morning and I'm like, I wonder where that piece is. So I had to go look for it because I couldn't remember where I put it. And I looked at it and I'm like, it was really interesting because at that time, because this was in March of last year, at that time, we didn't really understand the impact and all the other things that were going to happen to us as humans. And all the other viruses that were going to happen during this virus.
And you're talking about the social viruses.
Yes, I mean, it hurts so much to see that there's so much pain, there's so much anger, there's hate. Really, this is the time we should all be together and unite and not. It just hurts. It just hurts. But I am sure we will come out of this and maybe be a better person and a better human and yeah.
I hope so, and I hope it brings a lot of people the moment to pause and to take the breath, to notice what's around you, and to
And one of the other things, we are going to have a revival after all of this. I think humanity will go ahead and there's going to be joy. There's going to be happiness. There's going to be, the art is going to flourish. All the arts are going to flourish because we are going to be so thankful. And how do you express that? You express that in music, in art, in sculpture, in paintings. So yes, I think we are going to have our revival after all of this passes.
That's wonderful. And for you and in your practice, of course, we've already talked about how it's affected your subject matter, of course, and yourself personally. I would love to talk about the Coronavirus as well, the piece that you brought up earlier. It's so different than your abstractions, specifically with the color. Again, with your figurative work, you're also bringing in different potential symbols and elements, signifiers of where you are, that I think is very interesting. You talk about the lamp is a repeating motif.
Yes. This light here is in all the paintings. There's always some kind of either a couch, a chair, or a bed that a person is laying in. In this instance, it's me, but I have other ones that are not me. Well, actually, I was not as heavy here. Corona,
That's all right.
The Dreamscape series, which is under my figurative ones on the website, always has the windows and the light. And like I said, something that a person will lay in. And it's about their dreams. It's about human dreams. And most of them are happy because, like I said, I loved sleeping. I loved dreaming. It was always so interesting to me because I had wonderful dreams. And during this, during Corona, I don't remember my dreams, and my sleep is so restless. So that's why I wanted to put me in this painting and show my world as it's been. The other ones that I've created, of course, are happier. But I think the first in the series that I did, which won an award, but it was also sold, so I don't have it. And due to computer issues, I lost it years ago, so I don't even have a record of it. But that one, the first one in the series, dealt with me and my loss of my husband. So he died. So that was another tragic one.
Mm-hmm.
So two have been tragic, and the other ones are a little more happy. So,
well, it's still a way to process and work through
yes.
emotions,
Yes.
ideas, and very much the same way you work and process with color and the expression of the color.
Correct, correct. Yeah, and you know, I'm one that loves red. I know some people think it's an angry color. I love red. Blue to me is more of a I'm blue today. I'm feeling kind of sad today. And that's why in the Corona one, I used a lot of blue. Because, you know, that's sadness.
Yeah.
But the red is coming out. So we'll be
She's making an appearance. The reds are always so important for artists, that they go after them. There are these bright highlights that you get to see that really pull you into the paintings. And,
right. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. Totally agree. Yeah.
Well, Lillian, thank you so much for showing us your studio and for talking to us about your work. Is there anything else that you would like to share today?
Well, yes, I didn't show you the mess. So I have a little bit of a mess here that I'm like, no, they need to see that. Actually, this is a working studio. So it's not all prettiness. But yeah, okay, paint. Yep, paint, all the supplies, art supplies, all the brushes. Yeah, they're all in the way right now.
And again, you're living in the space, you're living with your artwork, and it's
correct.
It's amazing.
Correct. Yeah. So these are coming down, and hey, but I get the ones that need to be worked on.
Good. Hopefully, at least Corona gave you some time for working.
Yes, and thank you, Katherine. I appreciate it.